Guys, I'm absolutely devastated. I'm not going to lie to you. I felt that we actually deserved the point from that match, if I'm going to be totally honest. So to walk away with nothing and for it to be completely our own fault, we couldn't stay on side, we couldn't defend to save our life, is so frustrating. And I think one of the most frustrating things is you take Bruno Fernandes off. I think this picture says it all. You take Bruno off and we don't create one chance when Bruno comes off the pitch. You're 2-1 up, you can take Bruno off with 5 minutes to go. You're 1-1, you need a winner. The game is very open. The game could be a Brighton winner, it could be a United winner. I think the game was very equal. I think the game was very open. You take off Bruno, you bring on McTominay. That was Ten Hag's biggest mistake today, and that was probably one of the biggest errors today, apart from the defensive errors. Now, I'm going to be totally honest with you guys. I don't think United were bad. I don't think we were good, but I don't think we were bad. Like, if I'm going to give you my honest opinion, I would describe the game as okay. I'd say the performance in the first half, we were very unlucky to be 1-0 down. We probably deserved to be 1-0 up in the first half. Ahmad had a chance. Casemiro had a chance. But at the end of the day, we just weren't getting our wingers into the game. Mason Mount, and people will write online, the Chelsea fans that have got an agenda that Mason Mount has joined United, people will write online that Mason Mount had a bad game because he got hooked off at half-time. Mason Mount off the ball had a good game. He contributed a lot to United. He had a good game off the ball. On the ball, he doesn't quite do enough. And because he's not a natural striker and we're putting chances in the first half and we had the chances to go 1-0 up at half-time and we didn't, you needed to bring a striker on. He needed to bring Xerxes on. Xerxes there in the box. Unfortunately, he was there in the box, right in the box for the goal that we had ruled out. 2 goals ruled out today, which is so annoying. Xerxes was obviously involved in 1. So Mason Mount comes off at half-time, and you can understand him doing that. It was harsh on Mason Mount because he was having a better game than Rashford. He was having a better game than Amad Diallo. Amad Diallo really was probably the worst performer in the first half, but I said, look, his mum passed away or stepmom passed away last night. His head's not there. Leave Amad alone. People at half-time, and I'm going to say, if this was you, grow up. People at half-time are writing Amad off, saying he's shite, saying he's not good enough because of a bad 45-minute spell versus Brighton the day after his stepmom dies, who's practically his mother. Grow up if that is you. That's all I'm going to say, because Amad had a very good second half, not just the goal, but performance-wise. But Amad and Rashford were not working that first half because you didn't have a striker that was holding up the ball and playing in the wingers. And to be fair to Amad and Rashford, I said I'm not going to be critical of the first half performance because they had no help, no support. We were playing too deep. Now in the second half, Amad got a lot better. Rashford didn't, and Ten Hag made the right decision putting Garnacho on. But we lost a little bit of that intensity in the second half because Mason Mount was pressing so well and doing so much off the ball that actually the first 15 minutes of the second half, United were incredibly poor and Brighton did enough to make it 2-0. It went from United deserving to be 1-0 up at half-time and Brighton scoring against the run of play to Brighton deserving to score a goal in the second half, missing chances, to United scoring against the run of play. But once Manchester United scored, Manchester United were very much in control of the game for the next 10-15 minutes. And we scored this brilliant goal. It was fantastic. Amad did really well with the dribble, the weight, to then lay it off to Bruno. It was a fantastic ball into Garnacho. And there's nothing Xerxes can do. He didn't try and get on the end of that Garnacho ball. He was trying to get onto the end of the original Bruno cross, sliding in, and he can't get out of the way. And even if Xerxes is not there, the goal is going in, which is incredibly frustrating. But it just, Xerxes can't do anything about it. It hits Xerxes' knee, it's ruled out. And I think that goal being ruled out really impacted the momentum for Manchester United. And it ended up being 2-1 to Brighton through what was, and what we're going to show now, absolutely embarrassing defending. The United stand posted this here. We've literally got someone, this is the 95th minute of a game, and you've got someone unmarked at the back there in the 95th minute of the game. It's inexcusable from United. I understand that obviously the corner's already gone in, and then everyone's going towards the guy on the ball. But Diallo could have been there, Casemiro could have been there, Martinez could have been there. You cannot leave at this level of football a guy unmarked like that at the back. It's absolutely inexcusable for Manchester United, and that's what cost us the game. You know, Laurie Whitwell said this here, and I completely agree with what Laurie Whitwell said, and let me zoom in a little bit so you can see it's a bit clearer. He said Manchester United should not be losing that game. An inability for players to stay on side or time passes has cost the team, so that the loose defence in the box. General pretty good play. There was application to the pressing again, and taking Bruno Fernandes off failed to work. And Laurie Whitwell said exactly what I was thinking. Do you know what? Performance-wise, we weren't bad. I'm not worried about the season. We've dropped points to Brighton. And it's the same old United in the same old not scoring our chances, the same old sloppy defending. You know, it's the same old United in that sense. Conceding a goal in the 90th minute, we did it to Brentford, we did it to Bournemouth. We dropped more points than any other team of football in the 90th minute. And it's the same old United when I say same old United in that sense, if you look at it here. No team has, conceded more goals in the 90th minute onwards than Manchester United in the previous, 30 seasons. Manchester United have lost more Premier League games, 6, due to goals in the 90th minute than any other team in the previous 30 seasons. And this only happened twice. in these circumstances. It's a ridiculous stat. To us costing ourselves at the last minute because we can't concentrate is a ridiculous stat. But look, the media's going to make out Ten Hag is sacked. The media's going to run this Ten Hag to be sacked agenda because we lost. Ten Hag got it wrong taking off Bruno. Ten Hag's biggest mistake was taking off Bruno Fernandes for Scott McTominay. It did nothing. That was what Ten Hag got wrong. But I think tactically, in the first half, we were pressing well. Our build-up was good. We were playing good football. We played games last season where we won, and I was like, what is that? The first 2 games I've seen this season, which is a 1-0 win versus Fulham and a 2-1 loss to Brighton, and then 1-1 to Man City in Community Shield. The first 3 games I've seen this season, overall, we look better than last season. We finished 8th last season. We got lucky to finish 8th. We were shambolic last season. We look better. So people were on this narrative that Ten Hag's going to be sacked and it's awful and stuff. Man United weren't awful. They weren't great, but it was the defending that cost them. It was the absolute defending that cost Manchester United today, and I'll show you this. It was the defending. Maguire should have done so much better for the first goal. Defending for the second goal cost us. Because as Laurie Whitwell said, as I've said, if Manchester United had stayed on side today, Rashford has a goal, Xerxes has a goal, or Konacho, whoever it would have been, if we stay on side today, we win that game 3-2. If we don't defend like clowns, we probably win that game 2-0. If we'd have stayed on side and we didn't defend like clowns, we could have won that game 2-0. We'd had enough chances to score 2 goals, and every time Brighton did something, it was off our own error. Bruno Fernandes should not have been taken off because as soon as Bruno was off, it was just Brighton attacking. And I knew in the last 5 minutes, it's going to end Brighton's way because Brighton were the only ones doing anything to stop us time because we had no creativity because Bruno had come off. But at the end of the day, people are going to cry. People are going to have a meltdown online. And I just think, look, you're 2 games into the season. Remember Ten Hag's first 2 games? We lost 2-1 to Brighton. We lost 4-0 to Brentford. We finished 3rd. We won the Carabao Cup. What I see is the performance. If I am seeing an improvement in the performance and progress in the performance, I will back the manager and I will back the team. And that is what I'm seeing today. I am not happy. I am absolutely disgraced by the defending. But I'm not going to sit here and say, sell Marcus Rashford, he's had 2 bad games. He had a good pre-season, it's early days. I'm not going to make conclusions about our season after 2 games. I'm frustrated not to come away with 3 points. In fact, we could have come away with 3 points if we could have stayed on side and just had shown a bit of awareness for the goal. We could have. We've got ourselves to blame. It was individual errors. I thought we used the left-hand side a bit too much in the first half and we didn't do enough on the right-hand side. But then when we did use the right-hand side, Mazraoui plays it through to Ahmad and that was excellent. I thought Mazraoui had a good game. I thought Diogo Dalot, bar the goal at the end, had a phenomenal game. Put in an unbelievable cross in which Ahmad should have scored. Diogo Dalot had a phenomenal game. I thought Xerxes was unlucky for the goal being ruled out, but I thought Xerxes' movement was good. He showed instinct. I thought that Mount had a good game. Bruno, I don't think had his best game, but everything was coming through Bruno. I thought Kobbie Mainoo had an unbelievable game. I actually think, bar the mistake, Maguire had a good game. I thought Annan had a good game. But this team has mistakes in them. It's not ready-made. It's not the finished product. They're learning the system. We're not going to win the league. This team has mistakes in them. We look better in tight spaces. We look better in build-up. We look better at pressing. We look better on and off the ball. Our out-of-possession shape is a lot better. It's more compact. It's more structured. Our out-of-possession shape is miles better. We look better off the ball. We look better on the ball. We look fitter. We look physically better. But the concentration levels are the problem. The concentration levels are still bad. It's early season, so the levels of sharpness aren't going to be there. I get that. The concentrations was bad. I thought Mount was really good on and off the ball. And if anything, maybe he should have took either Casemiro or Mainoo off. Probably Casemiro, even though I thought Casemiro's looked better this season. Dropped Mainoo deep and played Bruno, Mainoo, Mount in the midfield 3 so then Mount could press and we could still have Xerxes as a striker presence. But I think United were a huge threat in transition. I thought United played some good football at times, bar the first 15 minutes of the second half and then the final 5 minutes after Ten Hag subs. But I saw enough from United to say, I'm not going to cry about the season. I'm not going to be shouting Ten Hag out. I'm going to say there was positives to take from the game. And there was players that were not good enough. There was definitely a lot of negatives. But there's no reason to be kicking and screaming and crying and stuff. If we'd have stayed on side, we would have won. When Bruno came off, we lost the attacking threat. That was a draw or a loss. That was on Ten Hag. But I thought Dalot was phenomenal. I thought we looked better. I just think that we're a little bit cursed at the moment, a little bit unlucky. But you know what? We left multiple players unmarked. And when you do that in the level of the Premier League, you've only got yourself to blame. And we'll learn from it. It's a learning curve. But I honestly don't think it's the end of the world. Brighton away is a very difficult game. They beat Everton 4-0. They've made some very good signings. They've got a good manager. Do you know what? We go and beat Liverpool next week. All is forgiven. All is forgotten. Thank you for watching. Bye.